to our first misconception, which is Liliana's relationship with Chandra or Gideon. People would like to ship Liliana with Chandra or Liliana with Gideon, even though the only love interest Liliana has ever had was with Jace, and but that was like a short period of time before they moved. They both moved on. I mean, Jace was with Vraska and and he and he even and he still likes Vraska, but Vraska just uh, leaves him or something because she thought Jace was cheating on her. It's strange, but I mean, but and Chandra's with Nisa, not with Liliana. So shipping Chandra with Liliana is just wrong because Chandra is canonically partners with Nisa. I mean, it's literally in the lore, and teammates. They're not. There wasn't like anything, and plus Gideon ends up dying. So I mean, but Gideon actually saves Liliana from her contract, which is why Liliana tried to resurrect him in Strixhaven. So yeah, but they're but they're but they're not. There's nothing like. But yeah, that's just one misconception. Just wanted to clear it out. And they're just friends, teammates. They're just the gatewatch. I mean, they're not not anything. Number 9, Soren being from Zendikar. Yes, I actually believe Soren was from Zendikar when I first started. I mean, not even because Soren and Nahiri. There's something like Nahiri was actually like Soren's adoptive daughter or something. It's crazy. But I mean, but Nahiri's a core. Soren's a vampire. I mean, everyone knows that. But what some people think is that Soren and Nahiri are both from Zendikar. No, Soren is from Innistrad. I mean, Nahiri ends up visiting Innistrad one day, and I mean that's when, and Soren and Nahiri, they have like they initially team up and had like something with Ugin and the Eldrazi, but then once there was like a betrayal or something, and then they end up having a grudge, which is why Nahiri ends up summoning Emrakul to Innistrad to just fight Soren. Like not even joking, just like Nahiri just friggin' pulled up one like these strongest Eldrazi Titan to just to fight Soren. And now that I mean, and even then in the Warp Spark, they friggin' ignore Nicol Bolas and the Gatewatch and everything else, and they just stick to their own battle. Like it's crazy. But I mean, to be fair, there hasn't been like much afterwards. I mean, he still is, in Zendikar, doing, like Zendikar Rising, and well, Soren is still in Innistrad. I mean, they just, but Soren was like the Lord of Innistrad. So why would he be from Zendikar? I mean, well, maybe it's because his first appearance was actually in a Zendikar set, which led to many people, myself included, believing Soren was from Zendikar. So, yeah, Soren is not from Zendikar. Just to clear it out. Just like how the Eldrazi Titans. Some people actually think the Eldrazi Titans were Zendikars, especially since they were worshipped as gods in Zendikar by core vampires and merfolk. It's just they're actually like extraplanar beings, just like the Urdra and the Arabo. They're not confined to a single plane. They're like the ones you see, the Eldrazi Titans invading planes. Those are just avatars of like their true form. I mean, they're not like and literally the Eldrazi Titans have been devouring like so many planes, taking over. Like it's said, there's so many planes corrupted by the Eldrazi Titans, and well, Zendikar is just one of those planes that was invaded by the Eldrazi, which was the events of Rise of the Eldrazi, and Battle for Zendikar, Oath of the Gatewatch as well. I mean, what the frick is this bug? Okay, never mind. Let's just ignore this bug. We're just gonna continue with our podcast. I mean, in case you don't know, look, it seems like they're just so the Merfolk knew the Eldrazi Titans is simply Ula, Maria, and CODZ. They're actually Ula, Mog, Emrakul, and CODZ. Like it's just, which is and also this leads to people thinking the Eldrazi Titans have a gender, or the Eldrazi don't even have a gender. The only reason why Kozilek and Nulamog are referred to as male and Emrakul being referred to as a female is just because it's just because of how the merfolk depicted them. In reality, they're genderless cosmic horrors, like similar to the eldritch horrors you see in the Cthulhu mythos or stuff. I mean, it's just they're just abstract beings. They're not they're they're, they're not really like physical and stuff. So yeah, that's just one thing I wanted to clear out. Let's just go in to another thing. So some people unironically believe, I mean myself included, that Strixhaven takes place before Throne of Eldraine. And I was actually, and believe it or not, me and my dad used to believe this, and until I decided to look a bit more into the actual timeline and found out how wrong this was. I mean, Strixhaven takes place like 1 year or in the span of a year or 2 years. I don't know. I mean, it's after the events of Throne of Eldraine. So basically, after the War of the Spark, it's said that the Kenrith twins have have uh, ignited their Planeswalker spark, and around the same time as they ignited their Planeswalker spark. Well, to be, it's they end up going to kill him, or I don't know, kind him? Is it kind him or kill? I don't know. It's just which is the plane where Battle Bond takes place, and well, but they first before ignite. Well, what gets them into igniting their Planeswalker spark is that they have to search for their father, King Kenrith, who gets turned into an elk by Oko, and then they end up like finding him and saving him, and their spark ignites both of them, and they go to Valor's Reach, which is in Killim, or did they kill him or sorry, I'm not sure. Then afterwards, they go from Kylem to Arcavios, which is the plane where Strixhaven is. And some people still think Strixhaven is the name of the plane. The plane is actually Arcavios. And Strixhaven is a university founded by the 5 Elder Dragons of Arcavios. Another interesting fact is that Liliana has actually studied, a Witherbloom in the past. And that's why she comes back as a professor under the name of Seraphina Onyx. So yeah, especially since, the multiverse has presumed her dead, which is why she doesn't have the chain veil anymore. So, yeah. Some people think that, Strixhaven takes place before Eldraine. That's not the case. Strixhaven takes place like right after the events of Throne of Eldraine, which then leads to Battle Bond, and yeah, that's Strixhaven. Now, up next, we have Yawgmoth created Old Phyrexia. That is not the case. Old Phyrexia was actually created by a random planeswalker. We don't know actually who made Phyrexia. We know Phyrexia is artificial. And Yawgmoth was selected to be, the king, the god of Phyrexia. Like, he literally is, the one who rules them. And, well, And well, he does die eventually, but basically, some people think Yawgmoth, created Fire Tail. He's the one who founded the kingdom, of Fire Tail, which would end up invading different planes and stuff. But he did not actually create Fire Tail. Fire Tail was created by a different old walker. Yawgmoth was not actually a planeswalker ever. He the only ascension he made was into godhood. And I mean, Mishra ends up becoming a Fire Tail in the Brothers War, which is what really happened. What starts the Brothers War. I mean, Urza has to fight Mishra and stuff, and well, eventually they both end up dying. But the Mike Stone and Weak Stone ends up saving Urza, and he becomes the first Planeswalker. But, well, canonically he is referred to first Planeswalker, but if the old walkers someone created Fire Tail, I mean then yeah, he's not really the first. But he then gets referred to as Urza Planeswalker, nothing else. I mean, it's the Planeswalker gets implemented into his name, but yeah, and well, but one thing we do know is we know who created Mirrodin. Karn actually created Mirrodin under the name Argentum as a plane of mathematical perfection, which then became Mirrodin. But then from Mirrodin, Phyrexia invades Mirrodin, which leads it to becoming New Phyrexia. So New Phyrexia is basically the corruption of Mirrodin. I mean, and New Phyrexia is ruled by the Predators. Old Phyrexia was ruled by Yawgmoth. However, the old Phyrexians had much more advanced technology than the new Phyrexians. The old Phyrexians were a Type 5 civilization. The new Phyrexians were only Type 1. So, yeah. Let's go to the next one. Tezzeret created the planar bridge. No. Tezzeret did not create the planar bridge. The planar bridge was actually made by Rashmi. I think was it Rashmi? Yeah. And well, which makes it even more impressive considering Rashmi is not a planeswalker. I mean, so what happened is that well, Rashmi had to create, and Tezzeret is the one who uses it. That's why many people think Tezzeret made the planar bridge, because Nicobolus forces him to use it and then Tezzeret ends up using it after the defeat of Nicobolus, and he ends up using it with the Phyrexians and stuff. I mean, and this flavor test, it is finished. Now the real work can begin. That is another main reason why people think Tezzeret made it and not Rashmi, when in reality Rashmi actually made the planar bridge. So just look into the lore. I mean, and also another thing about planar bridge is that the planar bridge and planar portal are similar. Well, to be fair, the planar bridge is an upgrade of the planar portal, except the fact that the planar bridge is artificial. Planar portals are made with planeswalker sparks, although the Fran and the Phyrexians have been able to make their own planar portals. But the planar portals were disabled after the mending. And now, after the new Phyrexian invasion of the multiverse, we have almond paths that spread from Kaldheim elsewhere, basically. Because the invasion tree is new Phyrexian's replica of the world tree, which lets them travel to alternate planes and invade different planes. So yeah, that's basically the misconception you see from the planar bridge. Up next, Kanadesh's renaming to Avishkar was not implemented in the lore. People think that Avishkar was just, it was just renamed due to cultural reasons. Which, to be fair, it is true. What they don't know is that in the lore itself, this name change has actually been implemented. Once the console has been overridden, like when the renegades end up, taking over they like the revolution that actually works in the Ava revolt happens. The people of Vishkar decide to rename the plane from Kaladesh to Vishkar. Like, it actually gets implemented in the lore, which is what we end up seeing afterwards in Averdrift, which takes place in Avishkar, Amonkhet, and Morganda. So, yeah, which is the Girpur Grand Prix spanned across 3 planes. So, yeah, that's basically another thing on the name. Another thing, not really a lore misconception, but it's just like people think time counters originated from the Time Spiral block. Actually, the first card that features time counters is Turok's Gate, a card in the reserve list first printed in Fallen Empires. Fallen Empires was one of those sets that, like, it was one of the first ever expansions in Magic the Gathering. And what they decided to test in that set was cards of 4 different arts. Like, some commons and uncommons had 4 different arts. But that really failed because people did not like how there were different arts. They wanted, all to have like the same art. Basically this set was a flop. That's right here. The only thing good that came out of this was High Tide and the Phalids and Him to Turok. That's basically the only good thing like that came out of it. Even the land cycle in this set was like garbage. Like, we had a friggin' land cycle where you could store mana in the land and then release like not all of it, as many of it. So it's just like that. I mean, but anyways, that was like basically the first card to have, vanishing. Which, well, it first started as fading, then it came into vanishing. But, yeah. So, yeah. Let's go to our next one. Multiple planeswalkers visiting Bloomborough. People think that because, Bloomborough Commander features different planeswalkers as Bloomborough critters, that does not actually end up happening in lore. This is non-canon. The only planeswalkers that actually visit in Bloomborough are Ral Zarek and Jace, which, to be fair, Jace actually does appear in the same Bloomborough Commander set and not in the main set, even though Jace actually enters Bloomborough just to chase down Ral Zarek. Not even joking. This literally happens in the Bloomborough lore. I mean, and Ral is an otter, and Jace is a fox. Like once they enter Bloomborough. Some examples, as you see there, that they're just what ifs that they didn't happen and probably they never will. I mean, Karn friggin' turns into a tree. Like, what? And also, Karn's not even a planeswalker anymore. I mean, he's just a friggin' golem. No. Narset also got desparked. I mean, Narset's now just chilling in Tarkir. Like, and yeah, I mean, there's many other planeswalkers that actually appear in this, but but they're not, they don't happen. It doesn't actually happen in order. Let me just check. I mean, which other planeswalker? Because there's also legendary creatures that don't end up visiting Bloomberg at all, but they get their what if treatment. So those planeswalkers actually never visited Bloomberg. Okay, that's just a what if, a hypothetical. Now, last but not least, is the canonicity of the Dark Faden IDW comics. Most people actually consider, the IDW comics to be non-canon. However, that actually isn't really true. I mean, if we go to World Spark, Dark Faden actually ends up dying, and he ends up in the underworld of Ravnica. I mean, Dark Faden canonically exists. I mean, especially since in New Fire Red Set they actually invade, New Fire Red's invasion of the multiverse. They invade his home plane, which is Fiora, and I mean, which is where Conspiracy takes place. Conspiracy and Conspiracy 2. So yeah, but Dark Faden was introduced as part of the IDW comics. That's basically, and that's what led many people to believe. And since the only lore we saw from Dark Faden, apart from the IDW comics, was Conspiracy, which is just a drafted implementation set, people would consider Dark Faden to be non-canon. But honestly, he probably is canon. I mean, I don't know what I mean. There's some media of Magic the Gathering that's considered non-canon, but the IDW comics of Dark Faden are not non-canon. That's at least that's what I saw. I mean, if there is a source out there that confirms the IDW comics to be non-canon, then please share it in the comments. But honestly, just enjoy the Magic lore. I mean, it's just that simple. Don't believe the lies just that people tell you, or don't just assume stuff. I mean, dig into lore and you'll find out for yourself. But one last thing, which is the worst art? Faithless looting from the Strixhaven Mystical Archive, or Wigglytuff from Shining Revelry? Anyways, congratulations! You've reached the end of the podcast. So, why don't you like and subscribe and follow Viantre, share friends, stay tuned to next videos, streams, and podcasts. New podcast releases 4:30 GMT, so stay tuned to it every Tuesday. So stay tuned to them. Watch my other videos too. And well, I'll be going to, what is it? Hold on. Oh yeah, Bologna. I'll be going to Bologna for this weekend, and then afterwards I'm going a whole week to Switzerland. So I won't be I will be streaming at the event, and I will be making some interviews, but I won't be uploading much, but I will still be in touch, with you guys. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and bye.